smells like a 7-foot tall calico cat drifting through the sky on a fluffy green cloud, dazzling over a city of amber. That's how some people describe fragrances, and I'm like, what are you doing? Here's the thing with fragrances, and I know everyone uses and abuses this term, but scent is subjective. It absolutely is. Like, you may love something that I hate, and I may love something that you hate. That's how it goes. But I feel like now, especially with so many people kind of really getting into purchasing fragrances at a level that's, I feel like, the highest it's ever been, I feel like when we, especially as creators, are describing fragrances, I feel like it's best to the people watching our content to describe it in a way that they can actually understand. I'm the first one to love to kind of paint a picture in someone's mind on what something smells like to me, and I think that's all great, and I think it should be that way. But sometimes I'm hearing descriptions like the one I jokingly said at the beginning that really people do that kind of thing, and I'm like, there's nothing in that description that tells you what something smells like. Then there are the types of creators or fragrance lovers, fragrance experts, whatever you want to call everyone, or anything, it doesn't matter, that are just all about the notes. It's this. And 99% of the time, the notes that they're referring to are not something that you've ever smelled. So you have no idea what those individual notes could smell like, let alone put together in a bottle. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's not helpful either. So for me, here's what I like to do when I'm describing fragrances, if you've never seen any of my fragrance content. I like to pick and choose notes out of a fragrance where I feel like the ones I'm describing or telling you about are ones that you know. You're going to automatically understand a vanilla, a rose, a mandarin, a black cherry, something sugary, milky, creamy, those types of things. I feel like you have a good sense automatically. You can paint a picture of what that could smell like. So I like to pick out things like that. And I also like to describe fragrances in a way where you understand the scenario and the type of person I'm referring to. So when I'm talking about, a very clean, masculine, male-leaning fragrance, and I'm talking about it being very CEO vibes, kind of like an executive, a car salesman, like somebody in power, a lawyer, like things like that. I feel like in your mind and in my mind, we can picture that type of person, and most times I feel like you've probably been around that type of person and smelled them, and that's why I do that. Like when I'm describing a boozy cherry fragrance, for example, I also always say, think Prosecco, think of a mimosa, like a cherry mimosa, think of something bubbly, champagne, because the chances are pretty high that you've either tasted a mimosa or a Prosecco, champagne, you get what I'm saying, or you've smelled it, and that's what I'm pulling in that fragrance. So when I'm talking about that, and I'm also pointing out specific notes in that fragrance, I want you to be able to, and I'm hoping that you're able to take those notes that I'm specifically pointing out, plus the descriptions, the very colorful descriptions I'm giving you, and in your mind, you're like, oh, I know exactly the type of person he's talking about. I know exactly the type of fragrance profile he's talking about. So I try my best, like I've kind of said 5 different ways, to paint a picture for you that you can actually understand and be like, you know what? I feel like I would probably like that. You know what? I feel like I'd probably not like that. But I just wanted to kind of make it known how I try to intentionally differentiate my fragrance content from other people.